What if the scariest injury news of the Blue Jays season is actually the moment that forces this team to become exactly what it was built to be? What if José Berríos heading for an MRI tonight isn't the end of something but the beginning of a much bigger story? Toronto is holding its breath, but I'm telling you right now, there's more here than meets the eye. Hello Jays Nation, welcome to Jays Quick News, your go-to spot for the latest Toronto Blue Jays updates. I'm pumped you're here, because tonight we're going to break this story down differently than anyone else. Quick question before we dive in. Do you think Berríos still has a meaningful role on this 2026 roster? Or has the rotation already moved past him? Drop your honest take in the comments. And please, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because this rotation situation is changing by the hour, and you're going to want every update. Here's what happened. Manager John Schneider confirmed Tuesday that Berríos will undergo an MRI on his pitching elbow after reporting more soreness than expected following his fourth rehab start. Schneider literally said, kind of crossing our fingers. Berríos threw 70 pitches over 3.2 innings Sunday for the Buffalo Bisons, gave up 7 earned runs on 6 hits, walked 4, struck out 1, and surrendered 3 home runs, including a grand slam. Across his 4 rehab starts between Single-A Dunedin and Triple-A Buffalo, Berríos sits at 0-1 with a brutal 10.67 ERA and 1.81 WHIP. His velocity is the bigger red flag, his sinker averaging just 90.1 miles per hour and topping out at 92.1 miles per hour. That's not the Berríos we know. So what does this really mean? Now here's where my take gets different. Yes, this is concerning. But let's talk impact with full context. The Blue Jays are the reigning American League champions. They lost the World Series to the Dodgers and came into 2026 specifically built to absorb pitching chaos. They signed Max Scherzer, traded for Shane Bieber, signed Dylan Cease, drafted Trey Yesavage into stardom, and added Cody Ponce. They literally entered spring training with 8 viable starters for 5 spots. Schneider said it himself, too much pitching is the problem good teams want. So, while losing Berríos extended would hurt, it's not the catastrophe casual fans assume. The architecture of this roster anticipated exactly this scenario. Why are we treating depth as a crisis when it was the entire offseason plan? Let's go deeper. Trey Yesavage already returned April 28 against Boston with 5.1 scoreless innings, 4 hits allowed, 3 strikeouts. The 2-year-old phenom is back in the rotation every 5th day. George Springer returned from a broken big toe and delivered a pinch-hit RBI single in his first game back. Toronto has gone 7-3 over its last 10 games, after starting 7-13. The trend is clear. This team is climbing. Patrick Corbin, signed after the Ponce ACL injury, is providing veteran innings. Eric Lauer, despite a 6.03 ERA and 1.5 WHIP through 6 starts, posted a 5-5 record with a 5.19 ERA last year, and has shown flashes. He's holding down the back end while the cavalry returns. Doesn't this sound less like a team in crisis and more like a team finally healing? Historical context matters here. Berríos has led all of MLB in innings pitched since 2018. Think about that. Through every era of pitcher injuries, every Tommy John epidemic, every workload debate, this man has been the most durable starter in the sport. He posted a 4.17 ERA with 138 strikeouts and a 9-5 record across 31 games in 2025. The 2-time All-Star is in his 11th MLB season and is 6th in Toronto, currently in year 5 of a 7-year, $131 million contract with $66 million still owed over the next 3 seasons. He has a player option after 2026. So, this isn't just a rehab story. This is potentially a contract decision, a legacy moment, and a leadership question, all rolled into one. That's why the Blue Jays are being cautious. Wouldn't you protect that kind of investment? Here's my unique angle, the one nobody else is giving you. The best-case scenario for Toronto might actually involve Berríos taking longer than expected. Hear me out. Scherzer at 1-3 with a 9.64 ERA before his forearm tendinitis is hopeful for a late May return. Bieber, recovering from his 2024 Tommy John complications, is finally close to facing live hitters with the same late May target. If Berríos rushes back damaged, he forces awkward decisions and potentially blocks better arms. If he heals fully, he becomes a weapon for July, August, and October when it actually matters. The Blue Jays don't need Berríos in May. They need him healthy when they're chasing the Yankees and Rays in September. Patience now equals dominance later. Are the Blue Jays smart enough to see that? Project forward with me. If the MRI shows continued stress fracture healing without new damage, Berríos likely gets shut down briefly, restarts a throwing program, and targets a June or July return. If the MRI shows new structural concerns, that's the worst-case scenario, possibly involving extended absence or surgery talks. But honestly, the most likely outcome is a controlled, careful, weeks-long recalibration. Toronto plays 7 of its next 10 games against beatable opponents. Yesavage is locked in. Gausman pitches tonight. Cease is dominant. The vibes inside that clubhouse are improving, even with the injury list. And don't forget, Louis Varland was just named American League Reliever of the Month. The bullpen is elite. Could this team actually be peaking just as people are panicking? Here's the bottom line, Jays Nation. José Berríos goes for an MRI tonight. The headlines will scream, concern. But this team is constructed for exactly this challenge. And the underlying numbers tell me Toronto is closer to a real run than a real collapse. So tell me your take. Do you trust the front office's process, or do you think this rotation is already cooked? Drop it in the comments, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't yet, and turn on notifications because the moment those MRI results drop, you're going to want to be here. This is Jay's Quick News. Toronto, the rise is coming.